Jules Horn, thank you so much for joining us on the Plant Trainers podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
We would love to know if you have a moment of gratitude to share.
Honestly, like these days, I'm just happy to be here and to wake up every morning, being able to live in New York City and have the people around me who support me and love me, I think that's the most important thing in life.
I think when you're surrounded by people who bring you up, you excel more and can take care of yourself more and just are happy overall.
I have those people and it's just been great.
So you're not originally from New York. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the industry that you're in, and what brought you over to New York City?
So yeah, well, I grew up in Germany, so I'm German. I grew up in a 120 people village in the south of Germany, Bavaria. I was in school to 16 and then I was working as a mechanic for 7 years. And literally, like I really stumbled randomly into this modeling fashion industry because a friend of mine, she was a nurse and was part-time modeling, and she was like, "You should try it." And I was like, "Well, why not?" So I sent out a few pictures, and then I got signed with a small agency in Germany, and then a bigger one, and then I traveled a little bit to Asia. And over 2 years working as a model in Europe, they were always saying, "You should go to America. I think that's the best market for you." Like every photographer, every fashion stylist, they all said the same. So 2015, I made my first move to LA actually for 3 months, worked quite good there. And then they sponsored my visa. And 2016, I got my visa and flew to New York. And then I shot with a photographer, like with Bruce Weber. He was back then he's still a really good photographer and one of the biggest in the industry. And I basically got signed with an agency and moved to New York in 2016 in June. And ever since I'm here.
And growing up in a small village, tell us a little bit about what your diet and lifestyle was like there.
So, well, my dad used to be a butcher his whole life till he retired. And my mother worked in a butchery. And then after that, she worked in a bakery. So basically, you just can imagine German diet is anyways like very meat and sausage heavy and potatoes and stuff like that, which is just normal, like it's the culture. But I really grew up with always a lot of meat, a lot of sausages, a lot of cheese, milk, and all that kind of stuff. Up like this, you also have in your mind then, okay, this is the way you have to eat. That if you want to be a man, you have to eat meat, or if you want to be a man, you have to eat a lot of protein from animals. Otherwise, you're not gonna get anywhere. Yeah, that's basically the way I grew up, and also had in my head like for a very long time.
So, how does the son of a butcherman become a plant-based vegan advocate?
Well, yeah. So I when I moved to New York, I really dig deep into like fitness, wellness, health in general, and I tried almost every diet on the planet because like it's kind of like if you work as a model, you also have is a lot of pressure. You have to look a certain way, and I also wanted to feel good every day, and I did like the keto diet for very long, and then I tried like this one called whatever fits your macros or whatever it's called. So you basically eat everything what fits in your caloric intake, but always very meat based, like an animal protein based. And then to make a long story short, it basically ended up like towards end of last year, 2018, was just not feeling great anymore. And I was like very inflamed. I would wake up every day and my face was like a balloon and I just didn't feel well and I didn't recover from workouts and all that sort of stuff. So I decided, okay, I need to change something. And it ended up that I actually had a shooting in Miami with a few other guys. And it was a lot of like shirtless stuff. And I really felt terrible. And actually, it's horrible to say, but I was like really disgusted by myself. Like, you see all the other guys in great shape and I look just like sort of like a beefcake. And one of the guys actually, he made sort of fun of me. He was like, "Oh, you look like a beefcake." and this like triggered something in me, and it ended up that the hairstylist on that job, he was vegan for 3 years, so we basically talked all day about that, how he felt better and how everything developed to the better ever since he switched to plant-based. So I flew back home the same night, and then I read a bunch of articles and actually watched Forks Over Knife, and then I I decided to myself I don't want to be part of that whole like cruelty for the animals in general, and like I didn't know how it looks behind the scenes in those slaughterhouses. So this was very much eye opening, and then the whole conversation I had with this hairstylist made me just think about, okay, if I change it now to being vegan, first of all, I help the environment, I help the animals, and then also I can't feel worse than I do now because it was really terrible. So basically, as they say, I just went cold turkey overnight and ditched all animal products and just went from there. And it's been like a year now, and I never felt better. And I mean, life is an endless journey. You always evolve, and you always figure out new things because season changes, the body changes, how much work you put in, like when it comes to the gym, or like where your mind is right now. So, but I definitely know by now that being vegan for me is the best thing I ever done to my body, and also for the environment, for the animals. Because now it's really like if I go walk through a supermarket, I can't even smell it anymore. And trust me, I've seen a lot of stuff growing up. My dad would butcher at home, and like I saw him. I mean, it's nothing compared to the slaughterhouses here, but still, you see animals dying. And actually, he is also on that path now. He said, I don't want to kill any animals anymore because what did they do to me? There's no reason for me to kill them. So slowly, but I try to get him on a more plant-based diet, and he actually, as a former butcher, agrees to what I'm telling him, which is great.
That's really incredible that you can make a change in somebody where it's so ingrained in their brain, right? We speak to it's funny because a lot of the transformation stories where we talk to people, they grew up with parents who were butchers or hunters, or they grew up on milk farms or what have you, and now they're making these changes. So, it really goes to show that even though life is one way, when you see the other side and when you feel it, it makes such a big difference. So what happened with all the inflammation and the puff cake or pork chop or whatever that not nice guy called you? What happened in your body? Beefcake.
Well, to be honest, like I dropped about 20 pounds, and I know there's a lot of inflammation, and you know how it is, when your body is inflamed, it's just, I literally dropped 20 pounds. Everything like improved, like my fitness level improved, like my endurance, and my just like the overall feeling, which is most important to me. I wake up in the morning, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go. I'm not like sluggish, I'm not tired during the day at all. And it's just everything improved. And now when I see the guy, I make fun of him because now I'm in like 10 times better shape than him. So the tables have turned.
So did you go from being like a hat model to an underwear model because of the physique change? Like, did your jobs change?
Well, I think I just, first of all, I fit the clothes better. And then, I would be in good shape, but because of like inflammation, I was really fluctuating up and down with weight, and then it's just not, I started working much more because I'm much more consistent, and it's so much easier like to stay in a certain way with a kind of food because your body just uses it much more efficient. And in the end of the day, I probably eat less now because it's like so much more nutrient dense. So for me, it's like when it comes to modeling, I started working much more. And then it's not just about the way I look because, yeah, this is one part, but for me, it's like, everyone says you just not look different, Jules. You're a different person. Like your energy and your vibe and your whole mood is so different. And that starts what you put in your body. And now I can really say, and I'm 100% sure that you eat the feelings when you eat an animal. Like when an animal, like for example, a cow, suffers and is like full of fear and all that stuff because they get slaughtered in a very bad way, you eat the fear and you eat like the suffer, like the part of that. You basically eat that, and it affects you 100%. Like because we're all the same. Like it's all about energy, and we all made out of the same thing. It doesn't matter if it's a cow, if it's a pig, or if it's a human. We all like energy basically. And ever since I stopped having any like putting anything in my body from animals who suffered, I just know I'm like my head is much more clear, my thoughts are much better, and I'm just in a better mood and a better person maybe. And yeah, that's what a lot of people also in the fashion industry recognize, you know. So when they say you're just a different person and it's much better, you're much better to, I want to have you more around, you're much better to hang out with because you're just positive all the time. And I feel that, you know, and it's just great to get that as a feedback from people you're actually not that close to, but everyone sort of like picks it up, you know.
Yeah, and as you continue on this path and you continue to eat this way, the more compassion and compassionate we become. And that happened to us as well, and it continues to evolve. And the people around us feel that because everything we are consuming is energy, and everything we do and put out there is energy that returns. So I think that's really an important point that will continue to just get better and better for you and everybody else who's in that situation. Earlier, you mentioned the pressure that you have to take on is pretty intense in the fashion and modeling industry. And I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit on the types of pressure that is happening to that models have within the industry and that you face, because that type of pressure is going to lead into what happens when you change your lifestyle. And I want to get to that afterwards. So maybe if you could just let us know a bit about the pressures that are going through with regards to body image and expectations, because as we're going into a new year, I think a lot of people are starting to hit the gym. They're thinking about their own body image. So I think there's a relationship there that we could discuss and will have an impact on our listeners.
So, I mean, in the fashion industry in general, and it's true that, you know, like we all sort of like have to look a certain way, and you have to fit in the clothes. And then as a guy, if you want to be underwear model, you have to be in a certain shape, right? So, and it's also like, because everyone is a little bit different. For me, for example, I know for sure if I gain weight, like the first place I gain is in my face, you know, and it's not very helpful if you want to look a certain, like, if people know you in a certain way and then all of a sudden you gain weight and your face is double the size. That's what happened to me when I ate a lot of meat and stuff and cheese, because your whole body's inflamed and my face was like a balloon. So anyways, but yeah, so I'd say, of course, there's a pressure there, but it's also how much pressure you let on yourself. To be fairly honest, like the first time I came to New York, like when I moved here 2016, I put a lot of pressure on myself because I also wasn't used to like the city itself. And a city like New York, it's always more is more and more is better. So when it doesn't really matter what it is, like comes to training, comes to diet restriction. And then, you know, like I figured out, I go to castings or meet people from the industry, and then you start talking about, you know, nutrition, the way you work out. And then the first thing always would be like, how many calories do you eat? And I was like, I never really thought about it before, you know, because I would eat, like back in Germany, I would eat how I feel. And when I'm hungry, I eat. When not, I'm fine, you know. But then I started getting this mindset, okay, you start calculating your calories and eating a certain way, you know, like, and when you said like more than 2,500, then you would be like, it's ridiculous, it's too much, you can't eat that much food, you know. And we all know like calories is like, it's just a number. The human body doesn't really burn calories. It's more like, because if you have like a salad with 800 calories, it's not equal to a burger with 800 calories because the nutrient density is so much different. But I know that now, but back then I was like, you really get caught up in sort of like a circle, which is very, very unhealthy. And then, as I mentioned earlier, it worked for a certain period of time with a certain diet, and then I switched again because I didn't feel well, and also my body composition changed in a way. And then, so I tried everything out for so long because of that. I put myself under so much pressure uh, to look a certain way. And eventually, as I said, like it led up to, which I'm grateful for, because if I wouldn't have done it and put myself under pressure, maybe I wouldn't put myself in a situation to be vegan now. But by now, I know it's all like what I've done in the past. I'm grateful for, but I learned a lot, and now I just want to show people how to do it and not to go through what I'm going through. But it's still there, and I experience this with girls and guys, because now a lot of people reach out to me and say, Jules, how do you sustain this look for so long now? And I don't know what to do, especially when they're younger, like in their early 20s. They would they come to New York, and then everyone goes through the same thing that I went through, and then it's like, how can I sustain a physique and like a look for so long without struggling much. And the first thing I say to them is like, listen, if you cut out dairy, which is inflammatory for everyone and like is really, really bad, and then all the meat stuff, then you'll be fine. But a lot of people don't understand it in the first place. And that's why I think right now where I am physically and mentally, and I put it out on social media, I get really good feedback from people in my industry, because they say, okay, you inspire me to go much more plant-based, cut out animal products, because I see it's working. And I do believe, yeah, every human is different, but the human body and the human core, how the body works, is very, like, it's similar to everyone. And there's certain foods which you should cut out and which you should have, and that's for everyone the same.
I think that there's this fear of there's this fear of carbohydrates, and I think that if people are going to eat high protein, high meat for a very long time, be under pressure, be out at parties, sleep, not
Yeah.
getting enough sleep, needing to be having this pressure from the modeling industry, you're going to start to see adrenal issues. You're going to start to see all kinds of hormone issues. You're going to see fatigue. You're going to have 3 times the amount of makeup on your face, because you're going to be covering up all of the pimples and black circles under the eyes. And it's just, a downward slope for that person. I was surprised to hear you say that you actually eat less now, plant-based. Is that really what I heard?
So for me, it's really depending, because I mean, like I ate a lot of meat stuff, but the volume obviously is much bigger now. But I say, like, if I would break it down to a caloric thing, which I don't do anymore, it would be less calories probably over the day, but the volume is much bigger. Because I
Yes.
make
Okay.
always like,
That's what I thought.
yeah, huge amounts of, like, I have huge salads, like the meals are really big. So, and this is also what people don't understand, it's like the nutrient density, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, the funny thing is that now, for example, I met photographers yesterday. They're a couple, and I haven't seen them in over a year. And they were asking me the first thing. They were like, Jules, what have you done? You look 10 years younger. And I was like, this is so crazy, because you don't really realize it. And I said, I'm vegan since the beginning of the year. And I cut back on like training and the stress I put on myself. And it shows just, like you radiate differently and your whole look changes. And yeah, it's like, I still have, like, when girls come to me or guys, I always would tell them, like, you have to, like, you have to be willing to change. If you say, okay, I want to look different, I want to sustain a certain look, but you're not willing to give up, for example, cheese. I mean, then you start at the wrong point. People want to have change, want to see change, but they don't really actually want to change anything in their life, because it's also easy, oh, I love cheese, because I grew up with cheese, and for example, I'm from Holland, and everyone in Holland eats cheese. And then I say, well, it's fine, but don't complain that you're bloated, and don't complain that your skin gets bad, and don't complain that you're inflamed and you don't look a certain way if you don't want to cut that out. So I think
People are always, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
ahead. People are always looking for the results without having to do the work to get there, and
Yeah,
it
exactly.
takes work to get to where you want to go. So you have to be willing to, I don't want to say sacrifice, but like you said, you need to be willing to make the change for you to get to that place where you want that to be.
Or I want to have muscles, but I'm not willing to sacrifice an hour of sleep to get out of bed to go and build them.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so another thing also, I think, in the industry I'm working in is that a lot of people just don't have any idea of nutrition in general, and then it really comes always down to like carbs. Everyone is like scared of carbs, and everyone says, "Oh, it basically comes down to carbs and fats. Then you can't have carbs, and then you can't have too much fat, and then all they say you should have protein." And then it's like it's ridiculous basically, and unfortunately a lot of even agents, they also don't know how to eat and how to tell the models then, and the first thing I had a talk with a girl. She came to me and she said, I don't know what to do anymore because I feel like my stomach is out, it looked like pregnant, and she's like, I bloated 24/7. And I was like, what did you change? And then she was like, I would have like bread in like whole grain bread in the morning, like with some sort of jam or whatever, and then for lunch she would have like a sandwich, and for dinner she would have like a salad or something, and then over the holidays, she would just eat away too much food and gain a little bit of weight. And coming in the like the different season in the fashion industry, coming in the new season right after the holidays over Christmas and New Year, she would carry in the agency and had a little bit too much weight on her hips. And then the agent would say, what did you do? And she was like, well, I just ate a little bit too much. So what are you eating on a day? So you tell him that. And then the first thing they were like, you can't have bread. You can't have whole grain bread. You have to then listen. They were like, you have to have like yogurt in the morning. That's the best thing to have. So she started eating yogurt, and then was when she started getting like super inflamed and bloated all the time.
Worse.
So so you get a little bit of an idea. They tell you something, but they don't really actually know what they're doing. But obviously, you as a model, you have like sort of a certain pressure on you, especially when it comes to like listening to your agents, because those people are the one who give you like the work. But what I'm doing right now is basically that's what I want to do more and more in the future, like educate people, like agents, and also like mainly models, to just get an idea of what's actually working and what's not working for you. Because as I said, like we all the same, and everything like starts from within you. And if you start with the worst thing in the morning, you're not gonna have a great day, and you're not gonna look a certain way.
Well, I think what you're doing right now as a model in the fashion industry, changing your lifestyle and being that role model and guiding light for others in the fashion industry through your social media or through sharing this podcast that we're doing right now with people in your industry, you're starting to change the face of nutrition within the fashion industry. And there's, like you just said, there's not a lot of knowledge and education out there yet, but it needs to get infiltrated more. And that's what you're starting to do. So I see this as a very positive path for you, especially since you've gone through it yourself and being able to share your experience and the results of your experience in educating and helping to educate others on how to get themselves healthier, not only on the outside, but more importantly on the inside, both physically and mentally, is a great thing that you're on the road to doing.
That it's definitely something, as I said, every day is new and every day is something different, but this is like the path I want to go for sure, just helping more and more people, because I think we all just here for a short period of time, on the planet. And I think when we help each other and serve each other in a certain way, the world would become a better place. And I think the more people I can get on this like mindset in general, and also like on that plant-based like way of so that the world will change, like climate change and everything is comes from what we eat. Because I mean, you guys know, like with the agriculture and et cetera, it's like it's insane, it's disgusting, and we all have to take a step in the right direction. Otherwise, the planet is not going to be the same. like it's changing, it gets worse and worse. So we all need to do something. And I think as long as I can help to do that and inspire other people, then I'm doing the right thing.
Right. So, but your peers are coming to you and they're saying, Jules, what did you do? You're not going to go at them and say, yeah, well, now I'm helping the environment and the animals. What do you say to them that's pretty specific for their personal situation on how they could improve what they're currently doing?
Comes down to the fashion industry and the modeling. It's unfortunately, but it's like this, and you sell your look, and it's about the looks. And then I just say, I never felt better, and it's just never been easier for me to stay in shape ever. I don't even think about it anymore. It just happens naturally. And I was like, I lost like body, like I lost body fat without even trying. And I'm like, this is so crazy because also I didn't like lose any strength or anything. It like everything improves to the better, and that's what I say to them. Like male or female doesn't really matter because everyone of them want to be in shape and want to look good, but also want to function, want to have energy. And I say, well, if I go on set, I am like on all the time, like I have so much energy. I'm not getting tired after lunch. I don't have any dips or anything. And I look the way I want to look and I feel great and that's all you need. And then when I tell them this, that's like, then they get like big eyes and the ears getting bigger too, and then it's like, wow, so how do you do that? And then I would always say, well, I'm always like, that's my German side. When I do something, I go 100% like overnight, basically. But I say, if you want to just try out, skip like two, like if you have like 3 times a day animal products, reduce it to one day at one time, and then just implement one plant-based day a week. Then if you feel good, what you will have 2 days and then build it up to a week. And all of a sudden they feel better. And I have like friends who've been doing that right now. And they like, I feel really, really good with it. Everyone is like giving me positive feedback. Yeah. Like the first thing they always say is like, I feel a little bit bloated, but it's like, yeah, because your body's not used to the fiber and to whole food plant-based diet. It takes a while. But, you can take enzymes, probiotics, all that stuff. We live in the world where we have all that, so it helps, But the overall feeling is always positive. I had lunch with a friend of mine yesterday, and she was like, I've been being plant-based in 3 weeks, and I'm not tired anymore during the day, and I don't need to take a nap. I don't need to have a coffee in the afternoon. I always feel great. And that made me so happy, those little things.
Absolutely. You could even have like a potluck dinner for some of your friends and have everybody cook one thing. So it forces them to cook something. I don't know if you models cook in New York, but it forces you to cook or pick up something and bring it together. And that way they get to choose all different kinds of things and taste all different kinds of things to say, okay, this is doable. But I totally get what you're saying, because a lot of our clients will come to us and say, I ate beans, and I obviously I'm somebody who can't eat beans because I'm bloated and I feel like 5 months pregnant. And I'll be like, how many beans did you eat? And they'll be like, I ate the whole can. And I'll be like, all right, when you first started drinking, did you drink the whole bottle of wine? And they're like, no, of course not. I'm like, okay, not that I'm telling you to go drink wine, but it's the same thing. You got to ease your way in to kind of build your tolerance, right?
No, that's how it is.
Yeah. So what actionable tip do you have today for somebody who's maybe in the modeling industry or looking to improve their physique? What advice do you have for them for getting started?
First of all, I would say like try to eat a whole food plant-based diet as much as possible. And then it's also don't go too crazy with working out, because our bodies like need to recover. I myself work out maximum 4 times a week. And then in the days I'm not working out, I do a lot of mindful stuff like meditation. And sometimes I go to yoga classes and I just walk and listen to podcasts or listen to whatever book I just want to listen to, because it's also, this is another part of where in the world we're living in. It's like always more is more, oh, if one workout is good, two a day must be better, and then every day a week, and you never rest. And I did the same mistakes, and that's why I now want to also say to people, not just about nutrition. It's also about like your body composition only changes when you let them rest as well. Yeah, you have to put in certain hours and some work if you want to look a certain way, but you also have to scale back and then rest. And a lot of people, especially in the city, in New York, and also in the industry I'm working in, it's like, you want to have quick results. And then they think, okay, if I work out 7 times a week, or like even some people work out literally twice every day, and then you get better results, but actually exactly the opposite, because your body's so stressed out and your cortisol is so high. And why should your body give away the last percentage of body fat if you like run on 150% every single day? It would be stupid, right? So that's what I say to them. And then this is also a huge thing. And a lot of people just they need to change their mindset first, to get where they want to be. Because it's just like, I tell people so many times, you have to cut back. And now the good thing is that I live really what I preach, and I live the way I tell people to do it, because if they ask me how many times you train, and it's like, well, if I have a good schedule, I work out 4 times a week, but if not, then maybe 2 or 3 times, it's enough, And if I have to skip a whole week, and I know I take care what I put in my body food wise, then I'll be fine too, But people don't understand that. They only think, okay, you only got to go that way, or you don't train, only every day or nothing. This is the biggest part and the biggest challenge for a lot of people, just to get their mindset right, And this would be the first thing I say. Okay, you gotta have a plan. You gotta stick to what you're doing. Like, okay, train 3-4 times a week, but also take time for yourself, because you need to recover, and it starts with yourself, And people, they try to, with social media these days, especially, you go online or go on Instagram or whatever it is, and then you see all those beautiful people, and it's all like filters, and it's all Photoshop, and you only see when they work out, no one really says, okay, I take a day off, or I eat that certain way. They only want to show, okay, I have pizza, I have pasta every day, but it's not true, If they have that, they have it once a week, It's just it's unfortunately a little bit of false world, and people have to sort of wake up, I think, and just looking in the mirror and tell themselves, okay, I want to do this, and I have to do certain things to achieve that, but I can't go too crazy, because otherwise I go the opposite way.
Yeah, it's definitely putting your mind to it and understanding the importance of taking care of yourself before you could take care of others. Understanding that the food you consume has a direct impact on your performance and everything you do, the way you function, the way you think, the way you work out, whether you're in a gym or you're modeling or you're just living a regular average life, which nobody should be living an average life. Everybody should be striving to be up and be extraordinary. But the truth is that more people need to be mindful and more aware of what they're consuming and the effects that the food has on the body. And what you're doing in the fashion industry by changing your lifestyle and being that positive role model for others around you is really amazing. And I wish you the best of luck in continuing to do that. For our listeners that want to know more about you or reach out to you, where would you like them to go to connect with you?
Instagram, it's Jules_Horn. Yeah, that's the main channel I'm using right now.
That was on Instagram, right? Okay, cool.
Hold on, it cut out. Do you want to say that one more time?
It's _Horn on Instagram.
Say it again. Say 5 words first, then start to say it.
Okay, so the best way to find me is Jules_Horn on Instagram.
Perfect. So we'll put links to that in our show notes at planttrainers.com. Jules, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day, out of your modeling time and your training time to be here today with us on the Plant Trainers podcast. We really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. So much fun. Thank you so much.